What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here again, and today I have another video with you for expansion. Of course, we've had a lot of expansion videos and rumors in the league, and I've been making videos about it recently. So today I wanted to make, let's say I'm making a 48-team league, sort of like in NHL games recently. If I could make a 48-team league, where would I expand to? And kind of, I made videos on where the NHL would, where would I is a little different. There's somewhat similarity, but I got about 48 teams here, as well as I got 52 cities on the board, including every NHL city. So we have 20 extra cities right here. We got 32 of what we already have, 20 of possible future ones, and we're going to go through this. So there was some realignment done with these in the West and the East. I did 4 divisions of 12. I've done my own where I've done 6 divisions of 7, 7 divisions of 6. You get the idea. No, that's for 42. I've done 6 divisions of 8 and 8 divisions of 6. But I thought, just make it simple. We'll just do what I already have. Of course, you can rearrange this in several ways, so we're just going to go through it. Start with the Western Conference and the Pacific Division. Of course, you're going to have the consistent ones. You have Anaheim, Los Angeles, San Jose, Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Vegas, Seattle. And I moved Arizona here because Arizona theoretically should be in the Pacific Division. If you just look at them geographically, there's no way they should be in the Central. It's kind of like when Detroit and Columbus were both in the Western Conference when they were in the Eastern time zone. It's kind of a bit of a pain. But for expansion teams, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams that are already in the NHL in this division. Salt Lake City, of course, needs to be is going to be in the league eventually. For a name I thought of, the Salt Lake City Dragons. I saw that, I believe it was on Tactics' YouTube channel. He does NHL videos. Go check him out. I think he was doing the Salt Lake City Dragons, and I think that's a pretty good name. It's a unique name. No other Major League sports team has used Dragons I can think of in North America. So, honestly, go for that. San Diego, you can go many different ways. I didn't come up with names for all of them on this. But San Diego, 4th California team. It's been rumored for expansion. They're getting a building, so we'll see how that goes. Portland has a lot of history back to hockey. They only have the Trailblazers, so if possibly that building could work with hockey. If not, they could work on a new one. Bring some life to the area. Portland doesn't have a lot of sports things to do. Something that could bring more entertainment to the city overall. And then as an asterisk, we'll go over the asterisk later, but I put Mexico City as, it's a long shot, but you know what? I see how it could work. Mexico City, obviously the biggest city in Mexico. If they could have a team, put them in the Pacific Division, you got 3 countries all of a sudden that are a part of the NHL. And it's not that far of a distance to get to, comparatively speaking, from, let's say, if you're going to Europe. If you're going to Mexico City, it's not like you're going to Tokyo in Japan or in Asia, or you're going to just like, where have they gone in the past? They've gone to Germany, they've gone to Slovakia, the Czech Republic. A lot shorter of a flight. Central Division. We got 6 current teams in there. We got the Winnipeg Jets, the Minnesota Wild, St. Louis Blues, Dallas Stars, Chicago Blackhawks, Colorado Avalanche. I was going to put Colorado in the Pacific. However, just geographically, I was kind of splitting up into 4 quadrants, and it just was not going to work with Colorado in the Pacific. There would be too many teams there and not enough to put in the Pacific Division, because I wanted to do Salt Lake City, San Diego, Portland. Those are 3 gimmies for me. So it's just kind of obvious to leave Colorado out. Also, they're kind of like above, like right in line with Saskatchewan, which I put in the Central Division. So Chicago getting a second team. Of course, I've mentioned this before. My theory behind this would be, if Chicago got a second team, it would have to be the Wolves. The Chicago Wolves, of course, are play out of Rosemont, right near the massive O'Hare Airport, one of the biggest airports in the U.S., much closer to me than the Blackhawks, that's for sure. There's enough support in this league. The Wolves get great attendance. I've seen the numbers, and every time I'm there, which has been for a while now, but every time I'm there, it's packed. The fans are passionate. You see Wolves stuff as much as you see Blackhawks stuff. Sometimes people just wear the shirts, the hats. I have a bunch of stuff in my collection. I have a banner, which you can't see because it's blocking it. I got one right up there. I got their four-time league champion, even though now it's 5-time. And I truly believe if you made them in the NHL, that could work. The reason I bring that up is because Carolina and the Wolves said, you know what, we're going to part ways with our minor league team deal. The Wolves do not have an affiliate, and they are a team in the AHL that cares a lot more about winning more than developing. It's not like the Rockford Ice Hogs that the Blackhawks have, where They kind of take time to develop players. The Wolves are serious about winning in the AHL, even though like their job is to also develop players. Winning is important to them in the AHL, unlike some teams, I guess you could say. Of course, winning is important, but the Wolves take it to the next level. That's the perfect compete level for a maybe more suburban market for the Chicago. If they have two teams in Chicago, one in the city and one in the suburbs, I think that could work. I really do think it could work here. Having be in the area all the time. Houston. Houston's going to get a team. It could be something. I was thinking of like names like for something like Houston. Like Houston, we have a problem, so like space stuff. But then you got the Houston Rockets, the Houston Astros. Houston Texans doesn't have anything to do with it, but you know what? We got two teams that are space related. Can't copy the Rockets name. You can't copy like the Houston Space Cadets. Like, you can't really put if they get that name, then call me a genius. But actually, don't call me a genius. Call me an idiot for giving them the idea. But Houston should getting a team relatively soon in the future. Kansas City's another one that's pretty much a gimme. Will they go back to the Scouts name? That's the question. They have a building. They've got baseball. They've got football. And they don't have basketball, so get a hockey team in there. But another market. New Orleans is a team I thought of. They have football and they have basketball. Not really sure how it'll work. New Orleans, obviously, kind of known as a French city. Of course, it's not like Quebec. But if they embrace hockey as much as the Quebecers did, who knows? But I don't know. I feel like it has a possibility of working. Possibly get a rivalry there with Dallas and Houston and Texas. So I think that could be pretty cool. Milwaukee, they probably should have a team already. Of course, the Admirals are very well known in the AHL. Milwaukee is interesting because they have a thing where it's kind of like so the big market teams have like such as Chicago, Toronto, the Rangers. They have like limited space that they can limit the space around them where there can't be another team. Like Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Indianapolis, Indiana. Those are like two cities that cannot really have an NHL team because the owners of the Blackhawks, the Wirtzes, they would never allow it because of it. Do I think Milwaukee could work? Absolutely. In fact, I'm not sure why I didn't write Indianapolis down here as well. I'll put an asterisk there because I think that's just another good city to use. Indianapolis. I really don't care about spelling right now. I know there's an A in there. We'll go with that. But yeah, Milwaukee, I think it could possibly work. Saskatchewan, another Canadian team. Well, Canadians are going to complain that apparently they really want a team, even though the population of Saskatchewan isn't massive, but population of Canada overall is nothing compared to the U.S. So of course there's going to be some dips, but when hockey's the number one sport in your country, I guess it could work. For three asterisk teams, of course, you got Austin, Texas, which is nearing 1 million people, which I could not believe, and they don't have a professional sports team. Oklahoma City only has the Thunder. Indianapolis, as I mentioned, they used to have a WHA team. It could work possibly, but again, same thing with Milwaukee. That kind of I don't even know what it's called. That land mapping thing where Chicago's just like, nope, can't be up here. But yeah. Okay, moving to the Eastern Conference, we have the Atlantic Division. I really reworked the Atlantic and Metropolitan divisions because the Atlantic Division is not the Atlantic Division. There are teams in the Atlantic Division that should be in the Metro, and Metro teams that should be in the Atlantic. For example, you have Tampa Bay and Florida. They're in Florida. Of course, they're on the Atlantic Ocean. Carolina's in the Metro. They shouldn't be. Boston's on the Atlantic. That's fine. Capitals should be in the Atlantic. They're right on the ocean. Devils, New Jersey, that's connected to the Atlantic Ocean. The Islanders and the Rangers are close enough to the Atlantic Ocean. Manhattan is connected. Long Island is enough said. And Philadelphia is actually really close to the Atlantic Ocean as well. Of course, that means separating Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is inland and Philadelphia is not. Other teams that can be there: Hartford, Halifax, Baltimore, Atlanta. Baltimore is tricky because Washington is very close. Could it work? Maybe. I was having trouble coming up with another one for this area, so I kind of just went with it. But it's another city. I mean, the Washington Commanders exist, and so do the Baltimore Ravens, so it could work. But I don't know. That one's a bit iffy for me. Hartford Whalers will never happen, but you know what? It's my ability to expand, so I'm going to do it. Bring back the Whale. Halifax, of course, up there, I think it's a perfect market for an NHL team. They have a decent population. They got decent buildings up there to use. I think it could work. Atlanta, they're going to go back to Atlanta. That's a gimme. The Metropolitan Division, you got Columbus, who's already there. Detroit should not be in the Atlantic Division. I know they're trying to keep the original 6 teams together. That's not happening. Pittsburgh is inland. Pittsburgh's honestly it's really close to Columbus. Buffalo is more inland than it should be, or it is more inland, but it's definitely I would definitely call it a metropolitan rather than Atlantic. Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, those are all inland cities. I'm not sure how they ended up in the Atlantic. And then Nashville, I brought over from the Western Conference because I had a lot of Central Division teams, as you can see. But yeah, and Nashville is honestly more of an Eastern team as well. I'm surprised they're still in the East. If there's a team to move over, it would be Nashville first. But yeah, they're in the Metropolitan because once again they're inland. All right, and of course I was going to put Atlanta in the Metropolitan. I just switch around Hamilton and Atlantic because I realized I put Hamilton in the Atlantic, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not right. So Metropolitan teams: Hamilton, Quebec City, Toronto's second team. So this would be another thing that would go through Toronto's owners. Similar to the Chicago situation, a second team in Toronto probably could absolutely work. I've heard from people in Toronto they could absolutely work. Quebec City's a gimme. Hamilton has been one that Jeff Bassel's been trying to get forever and hasn't. Cincinnati, they had a WHA team that almost came over, and they're on the opposite side of Ohio from Columbus, so could work. And of course, they have the Browns, which are in Cleveland, and then they have the Cincinnati Bengals, which are in Cincinnati. And I put Cleveland down there as well. If we ever got 3 teams in Ohio, that would be amazing. But Cleveland is relatively close to Columbus, so I doubt we'd ever get 3 teams in Ohio, but maybe one day. Maybe one day, because that would be pretty awesome. But yeah, that's going to be all I have for you guys in this one. 53 teams, possible expansion. I'll cut it at 48, so you got everything that's below the asterisks is out. But overall, what city do you want to see the NHL expand to the most? Of course, we kind of know the next 4. If everything goes to plan, it's going to be Quebec City, Atlanta, Houston, and Salt Lake City. So we'll see where it goes after that, because the NHL will not be done. The NHL likes their money, and to be honest, I'm all for expansion. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you guys in the next one as my phone rings in the distance. Have a good one.